silence permeated the dimly lit command center of United Terra, the central command station of the Human Alliance. Colonel Elena Cruz stood at the observation deck, her silhouette sharp against the panoramic view of stars. 5 years had passed since Earth had supposedly joined the Galactic Council, and humanity had spread across 27 colonial worlds within the permitted expansion zone. Elena's dark eyes reflected the distant light of an unfamiliar star cluster. Her uniform, emblazoned with the insignia of the Shadow Exploration Unit, carried the weight of her authority as its commander. The unit specialized in reconnaissance missions that required discretion and, occasionally, plausible deniability. "Colonel, I need to show you something," said a voice behind her. Dr. Malik Rao approached with a data tablet clutched tightly against his chest. The linguist's normally calm demeanor seemed disturbed, his fingers trembling slightly as he swiped through encryption layers. "This better be important. Rao." "I was about to begin the briefing for the Proxima expedition," Elena replied, turning away from the viewport. It's unprecedented," Malik whispered, glancing nervously at the other officers moving about the command center. "Can we speak somewhere private?" Elena nodded, leading him to her secure office adjacent to the command deck. The door sealed with a pneumatic hiss, activating the privacy field that prevented both digital and acoustic surveillance. "What have you found?" she asked once they were alone. Malik placed his tablet on her desk, projecting a three-dimensional star chart into the air between them. "We've been working on decrypting old radio wave patterns as part of the Historical Records Initiative. The Council provided us with data packets supposedly containing transmissions from the 50 founding species. Humanity had been told they were one of the 50 species that formed the backbone of galactic civilization. The Council had welcomed them as latecomers, but equal members, after first contact. The regions surrounding Earth's radius were marked restricted for exploration, ostensibly to protect developing civilizations. And, Elena prompted, her patience wearing thin. "This signal shouldn't exist," Malik said, highlighting a pulsing red dot. "It's a human-only radio transmission coming from a star that isn't on any council map. According to the encrypted coordinates embedded in the signal, it's Earth." Elena's expression hardened. "That's impossible. We're from Earth. We expanded from Earth." "That's what we've been told," Malik said carefully. "But this transmission contains geological and astronomical markers that match no world in our permitted zone. And the language pattern." He paused, tapping a command to play an audio file. A crackling voice emerged, distorted but unmistakably human. "This is Earth Colony Outpost Epsilon. Requesting emergency evacuation. Council forces have memory suppressors. They're erasing our home coordinates. If anyone receives this, remember Earth." The message dissolved into static. "When was this recorded?" Elena asked, her voice barely audible. "Based on degradation patterns. Approximately 300 years ago," Malik replied. "The Council has systematically removed Earth's true coordinates from all official records. The world we believe is Earth isn't." Elena stood motionless, processing the implications. If true, humanity's entire understanding of its place in the galaxy was built on deliberate falsehoods. "We need to investigate," she finally said. "The coordinates are in a zone marked as stellar hazard by Council navigation systems. Any official mission would require multiple authorizations." Elena's lips curled into a grim smile. "Who said anything about official?" 3 weeks later, the Shadow Lance, Elena's specialized stealth vessel, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the restricted sector. The ship's systems immediately engaged passive scanning protocols to avoid detection by Council patrol beacons. "Status report," Elena ordered from the command chair. Captain Lena Cho, her most trusted pilot, responded without taking her eyes from the navigation console. "We've entered the outer boundary of the restricted zone. All stealth systems functioning at optimal capacity. No Council patrols detected within scanner range. Keep us on minimal power signature, Elena instructed, before turning to Malik. What are we looking for exactly? The linguist had spent the journey analyzing the intercepted transmission. Dark circles under his eyes testified to his sleepless dedication. The signal originated from the third planet of the star system ahead. Preliminary scans matched the geological markers in the transmission. Continental patterns, atmospheric composition, axial tilt. A perfect match for what we've been taught is Earth, Elena muttered. With one significant difference, Malik added. This planet shows evidence of massive technological ruins beneath its surface. Whatever civilization existed, there suffered catastrophic destruction approximately 500 years ago. Captain Cho interrupted. Colonel, I'm detecting automated defense satellites in high orbit. They appear dormant, but will likely activate if we approach directly. Elena considered their options. Plot a course through the asteroid belt. We'll use the mineral deposits to mask our approach. The Shadow Lance slipped between the tumbling rocks, its advanced hull absorbing radar and LiDAR signals rather than reflecting them. As they neared the planet, the view on the main screen shifted to reveal a blue-green world, partially obscured by swirling cloud patterns. It's beautiful, whispered Jonas Vega, the technology scout who had joined their unauthorized mission. His expertise in Council surveillance systems had proven invaluable in bypassing the restricted zone's security net. And familiar, Elena added. Too familiar to be coincidence. As the Shadow Lance achieved stable orbit behind one of the planet's natural satellites, the crew prepared for surface exploration. Elena selected a team of 5, herself, Malik, Jonas, and 2 security specialists equipped with environmental suits and archaeological tools. They descended in a stealth shuttle, landing near the coordinates of a buried signal source Malik had identified. The landscape around them was desolate, yet hauntingly familiar. Rolling hills covered with vegetation that had reclaimed what once might have been civilization. Scan for subsurface structures, Elena ordered as they exited the shuttle. Jonas activated a ground-penetrating imaging device. I'm detecting a massive complex approximately 30 meters below us. There appears to be an access point 200 meters to the north. They followed the readings to a half-buried entrance, its design unmistakably human in origin, despite its alien location. Ancient symbols were etched into the metal frame, English characters alongside others that matched no known human language in their database. Earth Preservation Archive, Malik translated, his voice tinged with awe. This is real. Can you open it? Elena asked Jonas. The tech specialist examined the ancient security panel. It's dormant but intact. I might be able to restart the power systems using our portable generators. It took nearly 3 hours to bypass the ancient security measures. When the massive doors finally slid open with a groan of protesting metal, the team activated their illumination devices and stepped into humanity's forgotten past. The interior was a vast repository of knowledge. Walls lined with data storage devices, preservation chambers containing artifacts, and most surprisingly, suspended animation pods, all inactive for centuries, but designed for extraordinary longevity. This was an emergency bunker, Jonas said, examining the technical specifications displayed on a still-functioning terminal. Designed to preserve human knowledge and genetic samples in case of... In case of what? Elena prompted. In case of species memory erasure, he read, his face paling. Colonel, according to this, the Council didn't just hide Earth. They systematically erased humanity's collective memory of our true history and dispersed us across dozens of worlds. Malik moved to another terminal, his fingers flying across the ancient interface. I'm accessing historical records. This confirms everything. Earth wasn't discovered by the Council. It was invaded. Humans were an independent spacefaring civilization with colonies on over 40 worlds before the Council arrived. Why would they do this? one of the security specialists asked. Why not just destroy us if we were a threat? Because we weren't a threat, Malik said, his voice growing stronger as he pieced together the fragments of truth. We were competition. According to these records, humans had developed an alternative form of faster-than-light travel that didn't rely on the Council's controlled network of jump gates. We were expanding too rapidly, making contact with species outside Council influence. Elena leaned over his shoulder, reading the ancient English text. So they erased our past and integrated us into their hierarchy as subordinates, rather than equals. And they've done it before, Malik added grimly. To at least 7 other species across 20,000 years of their expansion. Their exploration was interrupted by an urgent communication from the Shadow Lance in orbit. Captain Cho's voice crackled through their comms. Colonel, we have a situation. Council Patrol Battalion has entered the system. They're sweeping with active sensors. They know someone's here. How were we detected? Elena demanded. Unknown, but they're deploying interceptors. We need to extract immediately. Elena made a split-second decision. Download everything you can, she ordered Malik and Jonas. We're taking this evidence back to United Terra. As they frantically copied the ancient database, a secondary alert sounded from their shuttle. Colonel, Cho reported, the Shadow Lance's electronic systems are experiencing targeted disruption. Council forces are using some kind of specialized EMP weapon. Can you maintain orbit? Elena asked, as her team rushed back toward the surface exit. Barely. Our backup systems are shielded, but primary navigation is compromised. We can execute one jump to emergency coordinates, but precision will be impossible. Understood. Prepare for emergency extraction. They reached the shuttle just as Council dropships entered the atmosphere, their distinctive engine signatures visible as burning streaks across the darkening sky. Get us up there, now! Elena ordered the pilot. The shuttle lifted off, accelerating hard through the atmosphere as pursuit craft closed in. Tactical displays showed at least 6 Council interceptors converging on their position. Evasive maneuvers, Elena commanded. Use the planet's magnetic field to disrupt their targeting systems. The shuttle pilot complied, diving toward the planet's northern polar region before executing a sharp ascent that momentarily confused the pursuing craft. The Shadow Lance, operating on reduced power, descended into a lower orbit to intercept them. Docking procedure initiated, announced the shuttle's automated system. Caution, target vessel experiencing system instability. The shuttle slammed into the Shadow Lance's ventral docking bay harder than protocol allowed. But the emergency magnetic clamps engaged successfully. All hands, prepare for emergency jump, Elena ordered as she rushed onto the bridge. Captain Cho, get us out of here. Hyperspace engines charging, Cho replied, her hands dancing across the controls. Council vessels are locking weapons. The Shadow Lance shuddered as the first volley of energy weapons struck its rear shields. Alarms blared across multiple stations. Shields at 60%, reported the defensive systems officer. We need another 40 seconds for jump capability. Divert power from life support if necessary, Elena ordered. We won't need it if we're destroyed. As the Council ships closed in for the kill, the Shadow Lance's hyperspace drive reached critical threshold. Space itself seemed to fold around them as they tore into the dimensional rift, leaving their pursuers behind in normal space. The jump was rough and uncontrolled. Emergency systems blared warnings as the ship tumbled through hyperspace with damaged navigational arrays. Stabilize our trajectory, Elena shouted over the chaos. Trying, Captain Cho responded, fighting the controls. Navigation is compromised. I'm using stellar positioning to approximate our exit vector. When they finally dropped back into normal space, the Shadow Lance was deep in an uncharted sector, far from both Council patrols and Human Alliance territory. Damage report, Elena demanded. Multiple systems compromised, Jonas replied from the engineering station. Communications array damaged, weapon systems offline, life support stable but at reduced capacity. Hyperspace drive needs a complete recalibration before we can attempt another jump. Elena turned to Malik. Please tell me you got something worth this mess. The linguist nodded, connecting his data storage device to the ship's primary computer. I managed to download approximately 40% of the archive's historical database and technical specifications. It includes incontrovertible evidence of Council manipulation and Earth's true coordinates. Good, Elena said, moving to the communication station. We need to contact Admiral Reyes at Alliance Command. He needs to see this immediately. Our long-range communications are damaged, Jonas reminded her. And even if they weren't, any transmission to Alliance Command would be intercepted by Council monitoring stations. Elena frowned, weighing their options. How long to repair basic communications? At least 12 hours, maybe more. Begin immediately. And Malik, I want a complete analysis of everything you downloaded. If we're going to confront the Council with this, we need absolute certainty. While the crew worked to repair the Shadow Lance, Malik immersed himself in the ancient Earth records. What he discovered shook him to his core. Colonel, he said, when Elena entered the makeshift analysis lab they'd established in the ship's medical bay. You need to see this. He played a video file, remarkably preserved despite its age. It showed a human woman in an antiquated uniform addressing a camera directly. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Defense Force. The recording began. If you're viewing this archive, then Project Erasure has begun. The Galactic Council's forces have breached our outer colonies and are implementing their memory suppression technology on captured populations. Elena watched in stunned silence as her ancestor, the resemblance was unmistakable, detailed humanity's final stand against Council domination. Earth was not the birthplace of just one human civilization. The recording continued. Our archaeologists discovered that humanity evolved independently on at least 3 worlds across the galaxy. A biological impossibility that suggests intervention by a precursor species even older than the Council. This discovery threatened the Council's foundational claim that they were the first advanced civilization in the galaxy. The recording explained how the Council had systematically erased evidence of these parallel human evolutions, consolidating control by manufacturing a false history where humanity was dependent on Council guidance. We've established preservation archives on 12 worlds. Admiral Chen concluded, if you've found this message, find the others. Restore what was taken from us. Remember Earth. The recording ended, leaving Elena and Malik in silence. There's more, Malik said after a moment. Technical specifications for Earth's independent FTL drive system. Star charts showing the locations of human colonies outside Council space. And most importantly, evidence of 7 other species who suffered the same fate. Elena's communicator chimed. Colonel, Captain Cho's voice reported. Communications are back online, but limited to short-range transmissions. We've detected a human Alliance patrol vessel, approximately 2 light hours from our position. Set intercept course using sublight engines, Elena ordered. We need to reach Admiral Reyes with this information. There's something else you should consider, Malik said hesitantly. The records indicate a resistance network already existed. Humans who escaped the memory suppression and maintained knowledge of Earth's true history. They called themselves the Remembrance Cadre. If they still exist after all this time, they could be allies, Elena finished his thought. But how would we find them? The archive included a recognition signal, a specific transmission pattern that would identify us to their operatives. Elena considered this. Transmitted on all frequencies once we're within range of the Alliance patrol. If the cadre still exists, they might have operatives within our own forces. When the Shadow Lance finally established contact with the Alliance patrol vessel, Vigilant Dawn, the response was not what Elena had expected. Colonel Cruz, Admiral Reyes himself, appeared on the communication screen, his expression grave. Your unauthorized expedition into restricted space has triggered a diplomatic incident. The Council is demanding your immediate surrender for trial. Admiral, we've discovered something that changes everything, Elena replied. Earth isn't where we thought it was. The Council has been systematically erasing our true history. Reyes's expression didn't change. Transmit your findings on a secure channel. I'll review them personally. Elena hesitated. Something in the Admiral's tone felt wrong. With respect, sir, I believe this information should be disseminated widely, not contained. That's not your decision to make, Colonel, Reyes snapped. The alliance between humanity and the Council is delicate. Unsubstantiated claims could destabilize decades of diplomatic progress. These claims are fully substantiated, Elena countered, and they suggest there was never a true alliance, only subjugation disguised as partnership. A tense silence followed before Reyes spoke again. Dock with the Vigilant Dawn. We'll discuss this matter in person. When the transmission ended, Elena turned to her officers. Opinions. He's afraid, Malik observed, either of the Council or for his position. Or he's been compromised, Jonas added. The Council's memory manipulation technology could have been used on high-ranking Alliance officials. Captain Cho checked her tactical display. The Vigilant Dawn has powered weapon systems. That's protocol violation for a friendly rendezvous. Elena made her decision. Prepare a data package with everything we've discovered. Use the Remembrance Cadre encryption patterns Malik found. Broadcast it on all frequencies just before we come into docking range. That's mutiny, Malik said quietly. No, Elena replied. It's fulfilling our true duty to humanity. As the Shadow Lance approached the larger Alliance vessel, Jonas prepared the data transmission. Package ready, Colonel. But there's something else you should know. I've detected unusual energy readings from the Vigilant Dawn. They're consistent with Council technology, not standard Alliance equipment. Trap? Elena asked. Most likely. She nodded grimly. Broadcast the data package, then execute emergency maneuvers. Full power to engines. The Shadow Lance transmitted the Earth Archive data just as it came within weapons range of the Vigilant Dawn. Immediately after, Captain Cho executed a sharp, evasive turn, pushing the engines beyond safety parameters. They're firing! Shouted the tactical officer as energy beams lanced out from the supposedly friendly vessel. Return fire. Target their weapon systems only, Elena ordered, and continue broadcasting on all frequencies. The Shadow Lance's limited weapons capabilities were no match for the larger vessel, but they managed to damage one of its primary weapon arrays before breaking away. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, Jonas reported urgently. Council configuration! Elena's heart sank as 3 Council enforcement vessels appeared on their tactical display. The Shadow Lance was damaged, outgunned, and now surrounded. Colonel, Malik called from his station. We're receiving a transmission on the Remembrance Cadre frequency. A new voice came through their communication system. Shadow Lance, this is Captain Leona Wright of the independent vessel Mnemosyne. We received your transmission. Hold position and prepare for extraction. Before Elena could respond, space rippled behind the Council vessels as 5 ships of unfamiliar design dropped out of hyperspace. They immediately engaged the Council forces with advanced weapon systems that cut through their shields with surprising efficiency. Those aren't Alliance ships, Captain Cho observed. No, agreed Malik with growing excitement. They match the designs in the Earth Archive. They're original Earth Defense Force vessels, maintained by the Resistance. The battle was brief but decisive. The Resistance ships disabled the Council vessels and forced the Vigilant Dawn into retreat. When the fighting ended, the Mnemosyne approached the Shadow Lance. Colonel Cruz, Captain Wright transmitted. Your courage has given us the opportunity we've waited centuries for. The evidence you've discovered, combined with our existing records, is enough to break the Council's information blockade. We're broadcasting the truth to every human world simultaneously. Elena watched in amazement as her tactical display lit up with transmission patterns spreading across known space. "How many of you are there?" she asked. "More than the Council ever suspected," Wright replied. "We've maintained cells on every human world, waiting for the right moment. That moment is now." The Council's emergency signal lock failed to contain the spread of information. Within hours, the truth about Earth and humanity's manipulated history had reached millions across human-settled worlds. Council information control systems crashed under the coordinated assault of resistance hackers using ancient Earth encryption techniques unknown to Council defenders. Elena, Malik, and their crew were brought aboard the Mnemosyne, which served as the command center for the rapidly expanding rebellion. Reports streamed in from across human space. Alliance military personnel were rising up, seizing control of Council monitoring stations and broadcasting centers. Council representatives were being detained or forced to flee. "It's happening faster than we anticipated," Captain Wright told them, as they watched the tactical displays showing human systems declaring independence from Council oversight. Centuries of suppressed identity don't disappear easily. Once people saw the truth. "What about Admiral Reyes and others in Alliance Command?" Elena asked. "Some were knowing collaborators," Wright explained. "Others were subjected to regular memory adjustments. We're identifying them now and providing treatment to restore their unaltered memories where possible." Malik had been working with the Resistance's historical experts, combining their preserved records with the data from the Earth Archive. "We've identified the locations of all 12 preservation sites," he announced. "Teams are being dispatched to recover the complete historical record." "And Earth itself?" Elena asked. "Will become our center once again," Wright confirmed. "We're already sending ships to establish a security perimeter around the system." Jonas, who had been analyzing the technical specifications from the archive, approached with excitement. "The independent FTL drive system is remarkable. It doesn't require the Council's Jumpgate network at all. Once we begin production, human expansion will be truly independent." As the revolution spread across human space, the Council attempted to mobilize its forces for a military response. But centuries of complacency had left them unprepared for the ferocity and coordination of the human uprising. One by one, Council military outposts in human territory were neutralized or forced to surrender. 3 days after the initial broadcast, the Council attempted a diplomatic solution. A high-ranking emissary requested a meeting with the human leadership, now calling itself the Earth Liberation Force. Elena, as the catalyst of the revolution, was invited to attend alongside Captain Wright and other resistance leaders. The meeting took place aboard a neutral vessel in orbit, around humanity's oldest colony world. Council Chairperson Aaron Voss, a tall, blue-skinned being with multiple eye stalks, addressed the human delegation with careful formality. "This situation has escalated beyond reasonable proportions. The Council is prepared to negotiate amendments to humanity's status." "We're not interested in amendments," Elena replied coldly. "We want recognition of our true history, reparations for 5 centuries of manipulation, and complete independence from Council authority." "Impossible," declared Admiral Celeste Morn, the Council's military representative. "The precedent would destabilize the entire galactic order. Other species would demand similar terms." "You mean the other species whose histories you've also erased?" Malik challenged, displaying evidence recovered from the archives. "Like the Arcturians, the Proxima Centauri colonists, the Tau Ceti Collective? We've found evidence of at least 7 civilizations you've subjected to the same treatment." The Council representatives exchanged uneasy glances. "Perhaps," Voss conceded reluctantly. "A transition period could be arranged. Gradual autonomy over several decades." "No," Elena interrupted. "You don't seem to understand our position. We're not asking for permission. Earth remembers, and we're already free. This meeting is merely to inform you of the new reality." As if to emphasize her point, a communication officer handed her an update. Elena read it and smiled. "The Arcturian resistance has made contact," she announced. "They've been inspired by our example and have begun their own liberation movement. The Tau Ceti colonies are following suit." Voss's eye stalks trembled with suppressed rage. "You would undo millennia of stable governance for the sake of historical grievances?" "We would restore truth," Elena corrected, "and build a new order based on equality rather than deception." The negotiations, if they could be called that, ended without resolution. As the human delegation prepared to depart, Admiral Morn approached Elena privately. "You don't know what you've done," she hissed. "The Council's methods may seem harsh to you, but they prevented wars that would have consumed entire star systems. There are threats in this galaxy that would devour your kind without a second thought. Then we'll face them as ourselves," Elena replied, "not as puppets dancing to strings we can't even see." 6 months after the discovery of the Earth Archive, humanity had reclaimed its heritage. The Earth Liberation Force had established a new government centered on the true Earth, with cooperative agreements extending to all human-settled worlds. Archaeological teams were systematically excavating the ancient ruins, recovering technologies and historical records that had been buried for centuries. Elena stood in the newly established Memorial Plaza, in what had once been a place called Geneva, watching as citizens explored interactive historical displays that told the true story of humanity's journey among the stars. Malik joined her, carrying a data tablet with his latest research findings. "The Council has officially recognized the Human Independent Federation," he informed her, "and the Arcturians have successfully liberated 3 of their ancestral worlds." "And Admiral Reyes?" Elena asked. "Recovering. The memory restoration process is difficult, but the doctors are optimistic. Many of the highest-ranking officers are showing similar progress." Elena nodded, gazing up at the towering monument that had been erected at the plaza's center, a representation of the Shadow Lance breaking free from stylized chains. "Was it worth it?" she asked quietly. "The Council's warnings about galactic threats may not have been entirely fabricated." "Truth is always worth it," Malik replied confidently. "Besides, we've already begun cooperative defense arrangements with the Arcturians and 3 other liberated species. We're stronger together than we ever were under Council control." Captain Cho approached, now wearing the uniform of the newly established Earth Defense Fleet. Admiral Cruz," she corrected herself, acknowledging Elena's promotion. "The excavation teams at the Australia site have recovered something you'll want to see." They followed her to a secure research facility, where Jonas waited with a team of scientists. Before them, on a specialized containment platform, lay what appeared to be an ancient star chart, its materials preserved through technologies far beyond what even the Council possessed. "It predates human civilization," Jonas explained excitedly. "And it wasn't created by the Council either. According to the embedded data, it was left by the precursor species that Admiral Chen mentioned in her recording, the ones who may have seeded human life on multiple worlds." "Can you decode it?" Elena asked. "Partially. It shows locations of other preservation archives, not just human ones, but those of dozens of species across 3 galactic arms. Some of these civilizations may still exist, unknown to the Council." Elena studied the ancient chart, her mind racing with possibilities. "Then our work is just beginning." "Indeed," agreed Malik. "The Council tried to hide Earth's existence, but it's too late. The truth is free, and it's spreading faster than they can contain it." As they stood contemplating humanity's new path forward, communication stations across the facility began signaling incoming transmissions. A technician called out in surprise, "Admiral, we're receiving contact requests from 11 previously unknown species in the Sagittarius Arm. They claim to have been monitoring our liberation and wish to establish diplomatic relations." Elena exchanged glances with her companions. A smile slowly spreading across her face. "Open channels," she ordered. "It's time for humanity to take its true place in the galaxy." The ancient message from the Earth Archive had become their reality. It was indeed too late to hide the truth. Humanity had remembered its home, reclaimed its history, and now faced a future unbounded by the Council's lies. A future where Earth's legacy would shine across the stars, not as a forgotten myth, but as a beacon of liberation for all who sought to remember their true origins.